Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Warp Factor Fiction. This is episode 20. We are at, that's right, Star Trek, the original series, season 2. This might be one of my favorite seasons of the series in a whole. I really enjoyed this season. I had such a great time watching it. And I, of course, am your host, Mick Manhattan, joined, as always, by my cohort, my pilots, my helmsman, if you will, on this journey, Lieutenant Junior Grade Tommy Manhattan. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be back for another episode.
I am super excited to be back again, talking about this, and we're talking about TOS. This is season 2. We really like season 1, but I think season 2 was, I think, my favorite so far. What'd you think overall?
It's close. It might be my favorite, but I'm not sure. There were some really good seasons.
Yeah, not overall in the entirety, but it's a good season. And like overall in the original series, I think season 2 takes it for me. Like I really had a great time with this one. But there's some special times. They really pulled everything together, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of your maybe not some of your favorite parts of it, but like I think Chekhov is a highlight for me in this.
Chekhov is really good.
Yeah, he was adding that young element to this. I think really helped a lot of things to this. So, is there anything about this season that stood out to you that you really enjoyed?
Spock was really good this season. Okay. I like the way that they did some of the off missions. I think they sprinkled those in really well.
I like that. Yeah, I do like that. I really like those away missions and how they've been playing them up. So that was cool for me too. Well, if you're ready, we can get started. We'll go by each episode and kind of go down the line. Mm-hmm. All right. Season 2, episode 1. One of the most famous episodes, Amok Time. In the throes of his Pon-farr mating period, Spock must return to Vulcan to meet his intended future wife, betrothed from childhood. This was, you were introduced to this a little bit early because Priya was introduced in Strange New Worlds, and sort of in Discovery a little bit. Well, because Spock was introduced in Discovery a bit. Mm-hmm. And that whole idea, the concept, but this is really the introduction of the idea of Spock having any type of emotion, what that looks like in Vulcan, things like that. We get a little bit more of a look into Vulcan itself, the Vulcan people, and like sort of mating, like how does marriage and stuff like that look? So for you, since you've had that sort of inner look kind of going chronologically in Star Trek, what is this episode for you?
It was good. I like the way that they did it, but it was not a great episode. I don't think it was an amazing episode. I liked it. It was a good one, but just an episode, it was not the best episode. I don't think it was even a top 5 this season, episode-wise.
Wow.
But it might be a top 5 because of the lore that it helps. Because of the amount of lore.
This is a famous episode. This is up there with like the Arena episode from season 1. Sort of in memory.
Yeah. But I just didn't love it as an episode that much.
I think it was the idea of Kirk and Spock fighting, that whole element of that and sort of where that came from. But yeah, that's it's interesting for you to say that. I do like the episode. I do like an inner look, but you're right. I think watching it chronologically and having those two different scopes, because I had an inner looking at what Vulcan was more so too because of Next Generation before this. So yeah, I definitely see, and also the movies before this. So it's I think it does sting, but I think back in the day I could see why people who were, appreciated the show when it first came out, why this episode meant something. But yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think it holds up as well. All right, so episode 2. Oh, wait. Before we do, who is your shining character and what's a takeaway you have in this?
Spock and don't trust your lover.
Don't trust that's your takeaway? Why is that your takeaway?
Well, because Spock couldn't very well trust his lover in this one. She basically cheated on him.
Oh my God, that's such such a cynical. That is a really oddly cynical thing for an 11-year-old to say. I guess okay. I'm just gonna, yeah, Spock is definitely my shining character in this, if nothing else for Leonard Nimoy's acting.
Yeah.
I'll accept your answer. I don't, that's so uncomfortably like, wow, don't trust your love. There seems to be I feel like you need to have so much more to that. Like, that's not, no, I see, as a father figure, I can't leave it at that. You can't,
Don't trust.
no, no, no,
Don't
no, no.
trust your.
No, you can't. I'm going to give you the advice on this one. I'm sorry. I have to do it because you can trust the person you love. Okay. Love should always be based on trust. Now, this was a situation where we do have the full context of the relationship, right?
Mhm.
Now in this period, yes, like it kind of, they wrote it in a way where she looks more villainized, but I don't think I don't think a cynical look at a relationship like that is the way to go here. I think you should always trust. How about trust yourself, trust your instincts, trust yourself, trust your emotions to make the right choices in the right moment. And if your relationship doesn't work out, if for some reason that trust is broken in a relationship, trust yourself to make the right choices to move forward. How about that?
Okay.
Let's try and make this a more positive spin than don't trust your lover, because I don't want you to walk away. You're getting into a more formative place. But all right, let's move on to season 2, episode 2. And I'm so afraid to see. I love it. I love that you are thinking outside the box on these. By the way, continue. But I'm just trying to offer maybe a different sort of way of thinking. Okay.
Okay.
Season 2, episode 2. Who mourns Adonis? A powerful being claiming to be the Greek god Apollo appears and demands that the crew of the Enterprise disembark onto his planet to worship him. The green hand holding the Enterprise in place. The big phantom green hand. This is again, I think you get a lot of famous images
Mhm.
that we see, like the like the famous fight scene is in Amok Time between Kirk and Spock is really well known.
Mhm.
The green hand holding the Enterprise from the planet is like a really well known image because it's ridiculous. But I enjoyed the episode though, like I kind of like these battle of wits sort of episodes in the second season. What do you think about this one?
I liked the episode. I can't say I loved the villain. Honestly, it's just kind of like, oh, we're gonna fight this Greek god, and then if there's god beings that are the Greek gods and they meddle, which Apollo did, why didn't we ever see them again in any other show? Or is it just Apollo that exists and none of the other Greek gods on the pantheon?
So we never figure out if they're actually Greek gods, right?
Mhm.
It's, he thinks himself a Greek god, or he plays to being a Greek god.
Mhm.
There's a lot that's been retconned, and I've thought about this one with this episode. He could be part of the Q continuum. We
Oh,
really,
good.
and the Q continuum essentially are gods, and they do whatever they want. And if he was like sort of a banished Q continuum, like you have to stay on this planet, he might mess around and be like, all right, I'm gonna make myself a Greek god, anyway,
Yeah.
sort of thing. I don't know. It kind of be fun to kind of explain it in that way. I kind of played to that, but I did like the episode. I really enjoyed Kirk as my shining character in this episode. I thought he did a really good job, like kind of battling
Yeah.
that stuff.
Kirk would have to be it for
You
me
know,
as well.
but you like reading up on Greek gods and then mythology and stuff like that. So did this like resonate with you other than that?
Not really. I mean, I can't say it really did.
Just wasn't that interesting of an episode.
It wasn't an amazing episode to me. It was a good one, but it wasn't. I don't think it was crazy good. Like some of the others.
Did you what was your any takeaways from the episode?
Not really, no.
That's fair. All right. Season 2, episode 3, The Changeling. A powerful, artificially intelligent Earth probe with a murderously twisted imperative comes aboard the Enterprise and mistakes Captain Kirk for its creator. This was an interesting one. So yeah, they just find this like it's like probe, this artificial intelligence probe, right? And it comes on the ship and then it just starts murdering people. Like taking its information. But what was it? So it was Kirk's name. It was sort of similar to Kirk's name. I can't remember the guy's name that it was, but like because his name is James T. Kirk, but I think his name was like James something Kirk.
Jackson Roy Kirk.
Jackson Roy Kirk, and he said Captain Kirk, and then when he heard Kirk or something like that, like he automatically thought he was his creator.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, I didn't love this episode.
I don't like the title because I'm so used to Star Trek and Changelings being the Changelings, not a robot.
Yeah, I mean, this is an original, so it didn't really take anything away from me with that, but honestly, for me, it was more along the lines of like, I just didn't like the dynamic of it. I was like, all right, I was like, you just had 2 really good episodes, and then now you're throwing this. And I understand like the contained episodes, you need to have them. I call them the budget episodes, and that's what this felt like. But honestly, it kind of felt like an ego episode for Shatner. Like this thing that's just like looks up to him as like sort of a father figure. I don't know. Like some of these do feel a little bit like ego episodes at sometimes, like specifically written for certain actors within the within the cast. Like I feel like when Leonard Nimoy had certain episodes written for him, they were more environmentally in tune. So like because he was more in tune with the hippie culture and stuff like that, environmental, and he was more of an activist, and Shatner seemed more into his ego, so like a lot of them were more like about him.
I feel like the best episodes that are tuned to one cast member is Sulu, because Sulu's episodes seem like Star Trek episodes.
Oh, maybe. Point one out to me as we go. I haven't really thought about it that way, but I will say the next like 3 episodes we get really solid episodes. So I didn't mind that this one like came, because like it was like good episode, then this, and then like boom, 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 then like you are in it. So who's your shining character in the Changeling? Mine was Spock.
Yes, also Spock.
Nice. Did you have any takeaways from it?
People can be mistaken for others, and if somebody says they know you, they might not. So
okay. All right. Now, one of my favorite episodes, season 2, episode 4, Mirror, Mirror. A transporter accident places Captain Kirk's landing party in an alternate universe where the Enterprise is in service of a barbarically brutal empire, the Terran Empire. This is, of course, the introduction of the Mirror universe, where everyone is bad. We have Spock with his goatee. There's a lot of great elements to this episode. I love it. One of my favorite parts of it is that Spock finds out within seconds that Captain Kirk from the other universe is evil, but for a while, like Captain Kirk is just rolling around the Terran Empire playing it off, and nobody realizes it. I love this episode. This is a top 5 episode for me, but what did you think of it?
It was really fun. I liked the episode. I think it was amazing. Spock was perfect in this. I don't think Leonard Nimoy could have done any better. I didn't love Kirk in it.
Yeah, I love them both. To me, my shining star is Nimoy. I thought he did such a great job.
Yeah, it's Spock. Nobody was good enough to be the shining character other than Spock.
He was so excellent in this, and so I mean, so was Shatner. Shatner, to me, Shatner's overacting that they often talk about or throw it, like you see that come in season 3 and maybe the movies and other things.
Mm-hmm.
He puts out some really good performances in the first and second season of this. Like really well done performances, and I enjoyed it. And this one in particular, I really enjoyed. I thought this was a really well done episode, and I was actually, because the Mirror universe became such a big part of Star Trek lore going forward, I really wish they had done it again on this on the original series.
So far, of the Mirror universes I've seen, this isn't my favorite one.
No, because they learned from it, though. This was your first one. It's never usually the first time you do it is never the best,
unless it's like movies because there are not many sequels better than the original.
You know who does it really well is DS9, because they revisit it quite a bit. You know, they go back and you see a lot more of it. So, you know, when we get there, because TNG, you never see the mirror universe. So
I wish Q had done the mirror universe. Like, I wonder what would happen.
Q does some really fun things with alternate universes, though. So we'll see. We'll see some fun stuff. But
I really like the Discovery mirror universe, though. I think they did that one well. That might have been the best Discovery series. Well,
I liked it with Lorca and everything. Yeah, I liked how made a play into it, and Saru's and the Kelpian, how that all kind of played out. It's very dark in a really good way. So I like that, the early days of the Terran Empire. So I dug it. All right, let's go back to what was do you have a takeaway from Mirror Mirror?
Things are not always as it seems.
All right, that's fair. That works for Mirror Mirror. Mirror Mirror, it works for Mirror Mirror. I'll give you that one. Okay, here we go. The season 2, episode 5, The Apple. Primitive inhabitants of Gamma Trianguli 4-6 worship a god who orders them to kill visitors from the Enterprise. This is a good episode. I liked this episode. What'd you think of this one?
I didn't. I mean, it was a funny episode, but it wasn't a good episode, in my opinion.
You know, him going back to visit his friend and everything?
Like, there were some good parts about it. Overall, it just wasn't that great.
I kind of dug it. I kind of like how they played into everything. I thought it was a good character piece. Like to how it sort of like, I don't know. I really like the interactions between, like, how they played against each other here. Early Pulaski's in it, young Pulaski, who you'll see in TNG in the second season, and then never again. So that was fun. I'm pretty sure she was in it. Yeah.
I like the acting in it a lot, but I didn't like it as an episode that much.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. I liked how they kept going up against the god too. I kind of like those episodes sometimes where they push up against, like, they have sort of those, like, press up against religious movies sort of deal. So, you know, every once in a while I thought this was a good episode, but it's not a top 5 for me, but I just thought it was kind of a good one.
It seemed religious. I think it was too close to Who Mourns for Adonis.
I think that's why I liked it better, though, because in Who Mourns for Adonis, it was like straight up against God, but there was like nobody else. Like they had the followers there, I guess.
Yeah,
that is just sort of what I liked, and it was sort of the fight for it. But I guess I kind of just enjoyed that aspect of it. But do you have a takeaway from this
one? Gods aren't perfect.
Okay. And who is your shining star?
I have to give it to Mr. McCoy, Dr. McCoy. I liked him a lot in this one.
Okay. You know what? I'm actually going to change mine. I'm going to go with McCoy with that too. Liked it. All right. Now we're going on to season 2, episode 6. Top 5er for me. The Doomsday Machine. The USS Enterprise encounters the wrecked USS Constellation and its distraught Commodore, who's determined to stop the giant plant-destroying robot ship that killed his crew. I loved this episode.
Yeah. The Commodore did amazing in it. I loved his acting.
It was so freaking good. So, just kind of explain it for anybody. So, like, this Doomsday Machines were like built way back in the day, just kind of, they never really give like a full description why. Just sort of like to destroy certain things, like dying things, right? And like, throughout the planet. And like, because what's his name? Spock is explaining it. It's like way back in the day, it was just these machines to kind of go out and like kind of clean up the universe, sort of like universal garbage trucks.
Universal Wallies.
Sort of, yeah. And so this one's just traveling out, and it killed the USS Constellation's crew. And yeah, this dude went crazy. The USS Enterprise picks him up, and now like he takes over, and he's like, we got to fight it. We got to take it out. And like, it becomes such like an epic battle, man. I just enjoyed the whole thing, man, all the way through. Kirk, shining star for me. What about you, man?
Yeah, Kirk was shining star. My only problem is that in a later episode, not in this season, but the next one. Dr. McCoy is really trying to get Kirk off the ship, and Kirk is in better condition than the Commodore. But for this episode, Dr. McCoy could have easily proven that the Commodore was unfit for command.
Yeah,
He was hysterical. It made for a good episode, but
there's a few times. Well, yeah, there's a few times where it's kind of, it just is. It's a little tough, where the writing just doesn't seem to play out. And also you could chalk it up to suspension of disbelief. Like it's harder to get rid of a Commodore than it is the captain.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Yeah. Any special parts of the episode that you really like?
I liked the machine. I feel like this episode seemed really ahead of its time. I know it was remastered, but still.
Yeah, I would say this is an episode, I think, if people are fans of Star Trek or they're just getting into it and they're looking for episodes of TOS to watch to sort of get into, this would be a good one to watch. I think you'd really like it. Yeah, and that would be a cool one to kind of put together for our social media and stuff. Episodes of TOS for you to check out if you're kind of getting into it.
Yeah,
Doomsday Machine for me is definitely a top one because I think this is a great episode.
It definitely is.
What's your takeaway for this one?
Don't let insane people control a weapon of mass destruction that is a starship.
How about just don't let insane people control powerful entities?
Okay.
So there you heard it first, everybody. Our children know better than we do. All right, season 2, episode 7, Cat's Paw. Very alien visitors to our galaxy attempt to connect with human consciousness, but miss, winding up tapping into our regions of human nightmares instead. So Kirk, McCoy, and Spock all go down to what looks like almost like a Victorian era, was it French or English, manor, and but it's spooky, and this is a Halloween episode. It came out a few days before Halloween in '67. This was totally planted for Halloween. There's the black cat. Everything about this screams Halloween. I was not a huge fan of the episode. Even the black cat in it that's with the guy is controlling everything. She's the one that she turns into a woman and is seducing them. They both have powers and they just want them. So they base everything off of, because they're psychic, so they base everything off of humans' nightmares because that's the only thing they can read is their fears. So I didn't love this episode. This one was just one where it's I was kind of bored with it all the way through. What did you think of it?
Same, but there was one monumental moment in it. The first of the series of mostly in season 3 episodes where Kirk falls in love with a woman and then they never, not falls in love, but has a fling with the woman and either betrays her or never sees them again. That's part 1 of it.
Is this the first one? Is this the first time that happened?
I believe so, because the man trap was McCoy, not Kirk.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess he just because he does do it a lot after that. He does it damn near every episode after that. So what's your that's a good takeaway. So I'll take that as your takeaway. But who's your shining star in this one?
Probably Kirk or Spock.
Yeah, I'll just throw it up to one of them, Kirk or Spock. Because again, it was there. This one was so it was just made for Halloween, really. Which I guess fun. It's more fun than anything. What if I had to rate this, I would put it above a 5.
Yeah,
it's above mid, but it's just not. And the next one too, Mudd, episode 2, season 2, episode 8. Harry Mudd returns with a plot to take over the Enterprise by stranding the crew on a planet populated by androids under his command. I struggled with this episode. I had a tough time getting through this one. So he gets on the planet with these beautiful women. And he says that he's helping transport, and they get to this planet, and ultimately what it is this whole trick of their androids, which I think another reason I didn't really love this episode is that you have perfectly humanoid androids. Okay, I thought Data was the first one. And now we've had like 2 episodes and 2 seasons where it's all like androids exist, you know. So for me, it's like rewrote a lot of things that I just like, you know, I don't love, but whatever. Harry Mudd being back, I didn't mind it. I like Harry Mudd, but I didn't love this episode. I was just kind of like,
I liked Discovery's Mudd better.
yeah, he was a better charlatan on that. A little more vicious. I dug it. And yeah, this Mudd doesn't match up with that Mudd. You're right. There's a little more tame than that.
It also seems like a direct copy of the other one. I can't remember if it was in Discovery or earlier in season 1, but it was like it's just a bunch of women that Harry Mudd has again.
Yeah.
Except this time it's not Orions, it's androids. And there's more of them.
Well, I took that as like he thought he could control the androids more, and then once he couldn't, it became a problem for him. So
I'm glad he didn't come back again, honestly.
Fair. I always looked at him, I didn't mind him coming back. I always looked at him as like the original series Q. So it didn't bother me. But what'd you think of this episode?
I didn't like it that much. It was kind of mid.
Okay. And who was your shining star?
Kirk.
Any takeaways?
No.
Your takeaway was I'm glad Bun didn't come back.
Yeah.
All right. Season 2, episode 9, Metamorphosis. While returning to the Enterprise aboard the shuttlecraft, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and a seriously ill Federation diplomat find themselves kidnapped by an energized cloud. Yeah, this one was interesting. This was a good away mission episode. I liked it because I liked the Zefram Cochrane being a part.
Yeah, I like Zefram Cochrane.
You know, there's very cool interaction in it, in my opinion.
But other than that, it was just a funny episode. There's like it's a cloud that can control people and has the creator of warp inside of its grasp.
That's true. Fell in love with the creator of warp. It's definitely interesting. There's definitely problematic themes to this episode, but I didn't mind it. It's above mid episode, but maybe like a 6. I would watch it again just because I think it adds a lot to the lore of what Star Trek was, especially with Zefram Cochrane being a part of it, and just kind of giving you the idea. Because remember, going back to like Enterprise and the idea of like how excited Archer was when they thought they found Zefram Cochrane, because like Zefram Cochrane went missing. Nobody knew whatever happened to him. So when
in this they said he died though.
Yeah, but because they thought he died. They thought he just thought he died. He went off in a ship and he died, but he didn't die. You know, like he wound up on this planet. So I thought it was interesting to kind of give a different planet, give a different idea to it and give a different backstory. So I kind of dug that.
Yeah,
and kind of play it off. So I did like it.
I feel like if it was any other character, it wouldn't have worked unless it was Archer. Like, I feel like the only way this episode worked was with Cochrane or Archer, because you'd need the historical significance for this episode to work.
Yeah, well, Archer didn't even exist by this time. So, like, because he was a construct afterwards. So, Zefram Cochrane, and this was the creator. You know, this is how they created Zefram Cochrane, you know? So, that's awesome. I love that. Like, this is the episode where we got Zefram Cochrane. You know, so I thought that was very cool. Who's your shining character in this, and what's your takeaway?
My shining character would have to be Kirk, and I couldn't really think of one, so I'm not going to do it. I couldn't really think of one.
All right, so
I think it's implied what my takeaway actually is.
Don't fall in love with a cloud.
No,
that's mine. That's my takeaway. Never fall in love with
a cloud.
Clouds aren't always what they seem.
People aren't always what they seem. Yeah, or clouds.
You quiet down, you. I agree with you on Kirk, though. He's my shining. Okay, so let's go to the next episode, which is episode 10 from season 2, Journey to Babel. The Enterprise hosts a number of quarreling diplomats, including Spock's father, but someone on board has murder in mind. This is a good episode. We do get Mark Leonard back as Sarek, Spock's father, which sets him on a journey because he's going to play that in TNG as well. Jane Wyatt as Amanda, which is great to see her. And, you know, it's quite this was a really good episode. more insight into Spock, into his family, into the Vulcan traditions. We get to see Sarek for the first time. I really love this episode. Spock is my shining star. I think this is an episode, again, if you're getting into the series and you really want to understand the characters, this is a good one to watch.
Yeah, that kind of was all it was good. I don't want to say all it was good for, but like really it wasn't a top 10 episode if you exclude the lore. Like if Star Trek TOS was a standalone series, I don't think Amok Time would be a top 5 episode of season 2 or a top 10 in the entire series. I don't think Journey to Babel would be a top 10 in the entire series if this was standalone. Because the only reason those are as significant as they are is the lore, which if it was standalone, it doesn't have.
I would love to see you pick your top 10 episodes of Star Trek out of everything when all is said and done. Like everything TOS when all 3 seasons are done. I like that. Who's shining character in this? Mine was Spock.
Mine was Spock easily. Either Spock or Mark Leonard.
Nice. And
a fun fact that I saw when I was looking down, Mark Leonard got more fan mail than Leonard Nimoy for 2 weeks after this episode.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. And what was your takeaway from it?
I don't have one. Murder isn't good.
Man dealt with his father the whole time. You couldn't come up with one family takeaway?
Oh, family.
I'm kidding, bud.
Don't be a deadbeat dad.
Oh, all right. Season 2, episode 11. Wait, you weren't saying that to me, right?
No.
We're doing a podcast together. No, I'm kidding, pal. Season 2, episode 11, Friday's Child. The Federation clashes with the Klingon Empire over mining rights to Capella 4. A sudden coup between the warrior-minded inhabitants forces Kirk's party to flee with the now dead leader's pregnant wife. The wife was insufferable the entire time. She was driving me crazy. She was just so mean. Wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was like yelling at them the whole time. And I'm like, it was driving me nuts.
Too much was going on in this episode to me.
Yeah, it just seemed very convoluted, just kind of all over the place.
The Klingons versus them for mining rights. Then there's a coup. The Klingons are behind the coup. You have to escape with the dead leader's wife. Then you have to fight them. Too much.
Yeah, and it was all kind of tied together in a nice little bow at the end, and it was just like, come on, man. Like it didn't gel together really well.
I feel like it would have worked much better if they'd made this a 2-part episode. I know they didn't have any in TOS, but if they had made it a 2-part episode, it would have given them more time. Like the first one was fighting for mining rights. Then like maybe at the very end of the first episode, the coup happens, the leader dies. Then that's the cliffhanger. Second episode happens. Then you get, they have to run and escape and the fight. I feel like it would work. I feel like that could have been a really good 2-parter. But it was not that good as a 1-part.
Yeah, I could agree with that. It should have been a 2-parter. But for me, it fell flat because it wasn't. It was just too rushed and too much stuff was happening. And that the actor, not the actor, but the choices they made for the character that the woman was playing, the pregnant wife, it was too much. I was like, I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah.
Like it was just way too much on top of it all. So not a really great one for me, but and you seem to agree. But who's your shining character in this? McCoy for me.
McCoy. No, McCoy was so good in this one.
And any takeaways from this? Alrighty. So we're gonna move on to how dare you sneeze on my show?
Sorry.
Live long and don't sneeze. That's how it works. That's the mantra on this show. No, you go ahead. It's fine. Season 2, episode 12, The Deadly Years for sneezing.
It's this episode. It was the same thing as that other episode. I thought there was another episode that had them age.
No, this is the only one.
I thought it was like towards the last episode. I must have been mixed up then. I thought that there was another one in like season 1.
This is the one where they went down on the planet. They went into the temple.
Oh, this is that one. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They went into
I thought
the
there was another aging one before this.
No. So they go into the temple and they no, I know what you're talking about. And remember, because Chekhov doesn't age
Yeah.
because he walked out and they didn't, or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And so like because he chased the guy out or whatever it was. And so they start to age and he starts to lose his faculty. So real quick, the deadliest landing party from the Enterprise is exposed to a strange form of radiation which rapidly ages them. So it's Spock, Kirk, McCoy. Chekhov is there, but he doesn't age. There's a young lady who she's the red shirt of it. She ends up dying. And like so McCoy can't use his hands, basically. Like he can't really do anything. Spock starts getting emotional because as you age you start losing the ability to suppress your emotions, and I guess that left Kirk with the he was started dementia, and it became such an issue like where he couldn't lead the ship anymore. And it was a good episode. I thought that like it actually kind of had me thrilled because you knew they were going to change it back in some way, but they kind of drew this out for a bit, and like they really did a good job of letting it linger to the point where it was like affecting them big time. I like the drama of this episode.
I feel like, because if you look at how they all ended up aging, like Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner, it looks nothing like how they aged in the real thing.
True.
Like if you look at Dr. McCoy, that's not at all what he looks like now, I don't believe.
Well, he's passed away for a long time, Bill.
Oh. Well,
that's okay. That's true. No, I see what you're saying though, and but again, it isn't how they looked, but at the same time, like I thought they like Spock is my shining star in this. Like he did a really good job in this. Although Kirk too, I really like he played a really dramatic role. Like he was not happy about aging and how it affected. And I thought you got a really good dramatic performance about this.
Yeah. So. And it could have been because Shatner also didn't want to age because of his God complex that he has there. I couldn't think of a better word. He might not actually have a God complex, but I couldn't think of anything else.
I don't know that you're wrong. Well, who was your shining star?
Probably Spock. Spock was amazing in this game and this one.
And who was what's your takeaway? Don't get old.
Yeah. If you age, you're bad. It's bad to age.
Oh, is it? You're batting 1,000 today, aren't you?
Yep, batting 1,000.
You're sneezing on my show. You're telling me I'm old. So
no, I said it's bad to age, Mike. You don't have that many wrinkles yet.
Oh. Yeah. You're killing me today.
Don't worry. Once it comes fast.
Jeez, kid. All right, let's move on before I start crying. All right, season 2.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Season 2, episode 13, Obsession. Captain Kirk obsessively hunts for the mysterious cloud creature he encountered in his youth. Clouds are back. All right, I will say this. The cloud thing was bothering me. It didn't bother me as much as the Zephram Cochrane thing, but it did bother me in this one. Although Shatner puts on a really good performance in this, like a really good obsessive performance in this. That's about the only good thing I have for this episode. What did you think of this one?
It wasn't good, but it was funny. It was a funny episode just because I was like, oh, is this the same cloud or is it like another one? Is this a whole race of things? Because if these look all powerful, we could get them to join the Federation.
I recognize these clouds. Oh, do you? Because we just saw it was Zephram, remember? It's probably pissed at us still for, whatever we did. That's where it comes from. No, yeah.
Although with the way the star dates are, this could have been before that.
That's true. They do jump around the star dates. I can never figure them out.
They were supposed to be chronological, but then things happened with the production team, and then they probably just pulled out a random number generator and ended up.
That's fair. I would like, yeah, that would be funny if we actually did watch them all. Star date. No, I'm not doing that. And I can't figure it all out. Yeah, Obsession. Like I said, the performance of Shatner, I liked it. He played a really good obsessed role in this one. Because I guess the Cloud, the Cloud took out like a crew of his back in the day, and that's always a problem. So he was hunting the Cloud again, and that's what happens. Who's your shining star in this one? Mine was Kirk.
Mine was Kirk.
Yeah, and
Also,
what's your takeaway of this?
Clouds must be a really good villain because they came back.
Keep coming back. Oh my God. Wait until we watch oh my God. There's like 2 movies with Kirk that have clouds too. Oh my
Really?
God, there's like 3. What is it with clouds and Kirk?
Maybe Shatner is scared of clouds.
I don't think he likes clouds. You're right. What was the other thing you were gonna say?
It's obsessively hunting a cloud from his youth that probably I can't remember what it did to him, but obsessively hunting a cloud from his youth seems like a really Shatner thing to do.
Yeah, it really does.
So I think that's why Shatner played so good, because he didn't have to act that much.
Maybe he saw a giant green cloud that looked like a hand giving him the finger, and he just got really mad, and now he's just been hunting it ever since. All right, season 2, episode 14, Wolf in the Fold. Kirk and the Enterprise computer become detectives after Scotty is accused of murdering women on a pleasure planet. This was a good whodunit episode. Scotty is my shining star. I'm saying that right out.
Yeah.
This was a good one because Scotty gets accused of murdering a woman, and like he's framed for it, and Kirk has to go and he has to investigate the whole time and try and get him out and get him off. I'm not going to give it up but I do think like this would be a really fun one for people to watch.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What did you think of this one?
It was a good episode. It was funny. It was one of James Doohan's favorite episodes. The guy who played Scotty.
He got a lot more play in this season, which I like.
Because so on his right hand, he doesn't have a middle finger because of a World War II D-Day accident.
Mm-hmm.
So and then when a stunt double showed up, it showed a 5-digit hand, and I think that's why he said it was one of his favorite episodes.
Very cool. I did not know that. I mean, not cool that happened to him, but the cool information to find out. Wow.
Mm-hmm. If you scroll down on IMDb, you'll see a bunch of trivia that are just like facts about every episode.
Listen, don't boy-splain IMDb trivia to me, boy. I was there in the old days before the IMDb trivia when you had to read the book.
Boomer.
Oh God, I'm not a boomer.
Sorry,
I'm not a boomer. I may be
either you're a boomer or you're not old enough to say I was there back in the old days.
I was there back in the old days.
Old whippersnappers.
You quiet. All right. Season 2, episode 15. The Trouble with Tribbles. Top 5 episode easily. To protect the space station with a vital grain shipment, Kirk must deal with the Federation bureaucrats, a Klingon battle cruiser, and a peddler who sells furry, purring, hungry little creatures as pets. It's one of the most famous episodes of Star Trek ever.
And it's very well done. It is the best episode in any show of all time.
Oh, really?
I mean, maybe not, but it's definitely the best Star Trek episode.
I love this episode. It is fantastic. It's so much fun. It's such a great contained on the ship episode. The Tribbles, for as simple of alien race as they are fun, great, and they're problematic in a terrific way. Not offensive problematic, but problematic for the crew and stuff like that. I love it. I think it's such a great.
Tribbles aren't problematic. How dare you say that to the
Tribbles? They're problematic. They're definitely problematic. Like they're everywhere problematic. Like they're getting into everything problematic. Like could really damage stuff problematic.
Well, that means that the ship just didn't have good enough security measures. Like,
listen, calm down.
Like if you can't stop little furry creatures, what is the ship useful for? Then in order to shut down the ship,
works.
Then if the Romulans just wanted to shut down the ship, they could just transport a Tribble on, and then.
Well, that's not true because the Enterprise was probably the first to deal with Tribbles, right? They didn't know what they were before. which actually isn't true. They retconned that. But since then we've never had trouble with tribbles on any ship since, right? So they've learned to deal. So anyway.
But then on the Enterprise, the Romulans could just beam a couple tribbles on the ship. Then the ship's gone. They beam back one of the tribbles, and then they blow up the ship because the ship doesn't have anything to do anymore. Like,
who's your shining character in this?
The one tribble that Kirk is holding in the thumbnail on IMDb on the bottom left.
My shining character is Kirk. I think you did a great job in this, kind of holding down the fort because there's a lot of stuff happening all at once. And also when you get back to it and the DS9 Tribbles episode happens, it's a lot of fun. All right, let's move on to the next. Oh, do you have a takeaway from this episode?
The ships aren't as good as they say that they are, because an alien race accidentally rendered the ship unusable on accident.
You're crazy, kid.
How do you let that happen? They didn't even do it on purpose. I thought it was supposed to be your flagship, Federation. Get your act together.
You're coming out swinging on Star Trek today. All right, season 2, episode 16, with probably the wildest shirt Kirk could have ever worn. The gamesters of Triskelion, Kirk, Uhura, and Chekhov are trapped on a planet where abducted aliens are enslaved and trained to perform as gladiators for the amusement of bored, faceless aliens. This was a good episode. It was just weird. Like I dug it. It's just what the hell's with Kirk's shirt on this? Like, he has that weird strap thing, and he's fighting. And this is another one where like he loses the girl. I think she gets killed in it.
It's part 2 of Kirk gets a girl and then never sees her again.
Doesn't she stay? Or she die, or she stays?
I'm not sure.
I think she stays or something to help like fix things or whatever it is.
No, she was I believe she was one of them, and she was like a colonel, and then Kirk like seduced her, and then he left, like, bye.
Later, Gator, I'm out of here.
I'm never gonna see you again.
Yeah, it was one of those odd sort of things, like where as soon as they got the necklaces off, like because those necklaces sort of controlled them, like dog collars basically is what they were, and then as soon as they were off, like they rolled out and got out of there. I get that they're explorers. And I get that because they're so open-minded that it's like their only defense is like, well, we'll bring phasers just in case. But like there's way too much times in Star Trek where it's like they're never defensive enough where like they beam down and it's like, okay, we're ready just in case, like we have our phasers out, like so somebody, but they beam down and then they're like, give us your phasers and give us your, like give us all your weapons and give us, your communications device, or they get knocked over the head as soon as they get beamed down. Like they get captured way too much, too easily in these things.
I have a theory. The reason that Kirk gets like a girl every episode is because it was in his contract. Shatner wouldn't have done it without the writers giving him all of this every single episode.
Don't blame Shatner for that. That was very much a trope of TV back in the day. The heroic male always got the girl. It's just that's what it was.
But like, if the better character should have gotten the girl sometimes. Like, there should be sometimes where someone else does, other than like the 1 or 2 episodes where McCoy got the girl.
Yeah, those were always sort of seemed like it evened out more in the 3rd season, where instead of like making better episodes, like it seems like the 1st season was more about let's tell good stories. Then the 2nd season was like, all right, we're gonna sort of give Nimoy and Shatner more episodes towards them what they want. Then the 3rd season was like, all right, we're gonna start giving everybody sort of more episodes of what they want and less good episodes. But we'll get there when we get there. This episode was like maybe a 6 or a 7 for me.
It was kind of mid.
Yeah.
I feel like if Kirk hadn't done the weird shirt thing, it could have gone up like 0.1 points. But like, it was just so weird.
Wasn't odd.
Like, why?
Who was your shining star?
Probably Kirk.
And what was your takeaway?
Don't trust dog collars.
It's fair. I can't really argue with that. Season 2, episode 17, a piece of the action. The crew of the Enterprise struggles to cope with a planet of imitative people who have modeled their society on 1920s gangsters. This is where they have to go back to a planet where they find out that another crew may have accidentally broken the Prime Directive and left behind some cultural, devices. And in this case, it was a book about gangsters from the 1920s or gangster culture. So the entire world turns into like a gangster type of world based on that, where mafia rules the world.
Well, I guess one of the crew members must have liked The Godfather. Wait, no, Godfather came out after this, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah. But now mafia still exists in gangster movies and stuff like that. They existed before the Godfather. So this was a cheeky episode. It was fun. I liked it. To me, this is like a 7 or 8 episode.
Yeah.
McCoy was good in it. Spock was probably my shining star in it. Oh, you tired, huh?
No.
You talking so much. I give it to you though. I love it. You're doing good. McCoy. I'd say Spock, and either Spock or McCoy are my shining stars. Who's yours?
Yeah. I think to me the most iconic scene in all of Star Trek is a piece of the action thing where it's just Spock and Dr. McCoy holding Tommy guns.
Yeah.
That sums up Star Trek perfectly.
It really is. It's so strange. Is there a takeaway on this one for you?
Don't become a gangster because you won't last.
That's sound advice, actually. All right, season 2, episode 18, and we're nearing towards the end here. The immunity syndrome. The Enterprise encounters a gigantic energy-draining space organism that threatens the galaxy. This one was pretty good. I like this one. What'd you think of it?
At first, I was like, "Oh God, it's another Cloud episode." But then I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Stop hating on it so much.
If I could become a better editor, I'm gonna edit Star Trek except every villain is just a cloud.
Oh my God. All the Klingons are just clouds with sashes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, but seriously, what'd you think of this episode?
I liked it. Definitely. I can't say it was great. It was kind of funny though, just because the way that the thing looked, it looked kind of weird, but also at the same time, it did look like a virus.
Yeah. I like the way it was taking on because yes, I understand. I don't mind the entity episodes. You're right. I don't always need them being clouds, and they do get significantly better as time goes on. But they didn't bother me as much.
I wonder if they finally realized, hold up, people don't like the clouds, so we're going to do this. We originally had this as a cloud, but now we're going to make it so that we can kind of say it's a cloud, so we can make it look like it's a cloud, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that they reused the Doomsday Machine music in this one.
They did?
Yeah. It was the same music, and I like the music from that episode. And yeah, I actually see music from Amok Time being used a lot more, especially in the fight scenes going forward.
Yeah.
So it didn't bother me as much. I like this episode. Again, it's nothing really like that stands out to me, but I do like the sickness aspect of it. I like that it's more of a thinking episode than it is an action episode. McCoy, having a bigger role in it. Like everybody kind of having a band together and really pull in. I like those. Those to me stand out more.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your shining star in this one?
Probably McCoy or Spock. Maybe even Scotty. Scotty didn't show up a lot. Like Scotty and Chekhov and Sulu don't always show up a lot, but they always get their roles perfectly.
Here's the funny part. Sulu and Chekhov, I don't think share any scenes on the bridge together in this.
I believe they do. I've definitely seen them.
It has to. No, in the third season they do. I don't think in the second season they do.
Maybe not. But like, I think those are the 3 best. Maybe I think those are the 3 best actors. I don't want to say the best, but like all of the people on Star Trek were amazing. Yes. But like there are some times when Spock doesn't do great, or McCoy or Kirk, but I can't name one episode where Scotty, Sulu, or Chekhov have really missed.
Yeah, no, I agree. Those are great ones. Oh well, Spock's really good too. He
Spock is good. Spock is really amazing. But
yeah. Any takeaways from this episode?
It's better than a cloud.
That it is for sure. All right, let's go on to episode 2, season 2, episode 19, A Private Little War. Peaceful primitive peoples get caught up in the struggle between superpowers with Kirk unhappily trying to restore the balance of power disrupted by the Klingons. So this was a peaceful planet with two different types of tribes living on it, but they were living in peace. The Klingons tried to start a warring faction by giving weapons to one side. So Kirk shows up, sees what's happening, and he's friends with the other side. He made friends years ago with one of the tribesmen from the other side, and so who wants to hold the peace. He now leads that tribe, and he doesn't want to fight. He wants to hold the peace. But Kirk is pushing you need to fight against them to hold your balance, or they'll subjugate you. That's what they're trying to do. And it becomes obsessive. You see a lot of prejudice from Kirk against the Klingons here, again, which we showed up earlier this season, and especially in that other warring episode. I like this one. There's a lot of character development in it. A lot of Klingon action in it. What did you think of it?
It was good, but at the same time, I didn't love it. It was a forgettable episode to me. I kind of forgot about this episode.
Okay.
Like, when you said it, I remembered it, but, like, I forgot that Kirk was friends with them. I was like, wait, really?
Yeah.
It was kind of like, it's very forgettable. Kind of like the alternative factor.
Okay. All right. Well, who's shining star in it, though?
Probably Kirk. I mean, he just did well.
And,
although McCoy was really good.
McCoy was good in it. Any takeaways from it?
Don't give weapons to peaceful people or they'll become America.
Oh, stop it.
What?
I love this
It's
country.
True. I do. But we are a little bit too obsessed with some things.
Fair. Season 2, episode 20, Return to Tomorrow. The Enterprise is guided to a distant, long-dead world where survivors of an extremely ancient race existing only as disembodied energy, desiring the bodies of Kirk, Spock, and astrobiologist Anne Mulhall, so that they may live again. So these disembodied entities, yes, they're looking to. They're all powerful. They can cure all diseases. That's what they claim. They just want to take over the bodies just to feel again for a little while. And once they do, one or two of them decide, hey, we like this. We may not want to go back. And that becomes a problem because it could kill the hosts.
It's just the Lights of Zetar, which was a season 3 episode. It's the same thing.
It is, but I kind of like this one a little bit better.
Yeah. But also, what I don't get is, why is the astrobiologist wearing a red shirt? She's a scientist.
She could be working in an engineering field, though.
That is true, but she's an astrobiologist.
I don't know. I mean, you can't use an astrobiologist in an engineering world?
You can.
So there you go.
But, like, they'd still be a blue shirt.
I don't know, bud. Just leave it alone.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of things. Let's suspend disbelief. Let's let it go. They needed some color added, or did she die in the end?
I think so.
There you go. That's why. That's all they had left in the costuming. They didn't want to make a blue one. Christine Chappell was in this episode, so they didn't want to make another blue. No, I thought it was a good episode, but it's just very contained. Well, good acting in this episode.
Yeah.
Actually, I would give this one up to Spock. He's probably my shining character in it because he played the evil one.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's really good at being evil.
He does play a good job. And being able to switch it on and off, I thought it was a good job too.
Yeah.
Going back and forth.
Also, I believe Anne Mulhall was the highest ranking female in Star Trek up to this point as a lieutenant commander.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's very cool. We'll see her again, don't worry.
We will?
So, yeah, don't worry. Not Anne Mulhall, but you'll see that actor again. And what's your takeaway from this episode?
Don't let random things in your body.
That's a great takeaway. Smart. Very smart.
Especially not things that say, we just want to be in it for a little while, then we'll go. Don't trust it.
Tommy, I'm very proud of you for that one. That's great.
Yeah.
Smart. Season 2, Episode 21, Patterns of Force. Looking for a missing Federation cultural observer, Kirk and Spock find themselves on a planet whose culture has been completely patterned after Nazi Germany. This is the same exact episode as the 20s gangster one, as a piece of the action, but it's basically Nazis. But for me, it's like this is a better done episode.
Yeah.
I don't even know why you did the other episode.
Because
plot
you could have just instead made Patterns of Force a two-parter.
Yeah, you could have, because it was well done. You could have made it longer. In fact, I think that, in my opinion, Patterns of Force had a better ending. The fact that they were making the dude do this, like it wasn't like a book, like they were forcing him to be their Führer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like that aspect of it. Shining star for me was Kirk on this.
Spock.
Spock, nice. And I do get why they would do something like this, because they were both Jewish, both big advocates for speaking out. Shatner and Nimoy.
Shatner's Jewish?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they're both big advocates. That's why they did. They would do these episodes just to, be able to speak out on those issues and such. So any takeaways from this one?
Don't be a Nazi.
Another great takeaway. Love it. All right. Season 2, Episode 22. And by any other name, galactic alien scouts capture the Enterprise for a return voyage and a prelude to invasion. Kirk's one advantage: they're not used to their adopted human form. This was not a very memorable episode for me.
I kind of forgot about it almost.
Yeah, it just, for me, it was like, I watched it late at night. I remember having fun with it. Like, it was a fun episode, but I just didn't love it. What do you think about it overall? Like, they introduced the Kelvins in this one. I didn't mind it, but it's just sort of a forgettable episode, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Very much.
That's the thing, like with season 2, to me it's like the best season of this show, of TOS, but it also, like, when the episodes weren't good, they were very forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Spock was my shining star in this.
Yeah, 100%. Spock was amazing in this one.
Yeah.
He's really the only reason that this episode didn't suck, in my opinion. Spock.
No, he did a good job with it. And do you have any takeaways from this one?
No, other than don't get captured by aliens.
Okay, now they're getting a little out of whack. All right, season 2, episode 23. We're rounding the end here. We got a few more episodes after this. The Omega Glory. Responding to a distress signal, Kirk finds Captain Tracy of the USS Exeter violating the Prime Directive and interfering with the war between the Yangs and the Combs to find the secret of their longevity. This one was okay. It's a mid episode.
It was forgettable.
So they go down this planet. It's very odd. So it's very barbaric in certain, but it also, like, it feels like they were just using sets that were available to them with costuming. It feels like a very thrown together sort of episode. I didn't love it. Like, it's the way they were kind of setting this up. They've come across this ship. Everyone on the ship is dead.
Third time that's happened.
Yeah, and they're all sick, right? So they go down to the planet that the ship is orbiting. Once down there, they run into this captain who's like kind of he's kind of running the show of what's going on there. And he's like, you can't leave because now you're infected. And if you leave, you're going to infect everybody on your ship and they're going to die too. Like, you have to stay down here. That's the only way to survive. So they're kind of trapped. They kind of have to figure it out. And during that time, this captain is kind of running things, basically telling them, like, this is how we do things now. And it's not a terrible episode, but it's just not a great episode. It's just one of those, like, away missions you kind of got to escape. I didn't love it. Kirk is my shining star of it, but overall, what'd you think of it? Who's your shining star and what's your takeaway?
Kirk, and we don't violate the Prime Directive.
Yeah, right? Jesus.
A lot of people seem to be doing it. Maybe Starfleet should have a better background check.
They need to, like, or just start punishing. Just start punishing. It seems like you don't punish. Like, start punishing people. Come on,
Like, that should be a court martial.
right? They just don't do anything.
It's like your biggest rule.
It's the number one. It's the first one. It's like, hey, come on, don't do that, guys. Every time.
And yet Kirk wanted, well, not Kirk, but like other Kirk wanted to murder people because they were trying to get their actual captain back.
Yeah, right. Oh, ridiculous.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. All right. Season 2, episode 24, The Ultimate Computer. Kirk and a subskeleton crew are ordered to test out an advanced artificially intelligent control system, the N5 Multitronic system, which could potentially render them all redundant. So this is one of my favorites. I love this episode. So he takes on basically a skeleton crew, like they say. It's like 20 people. The bare minimum to run the ship, if need be, if anything happens with the artificial intelligence. And through that, they have to go through like essentially these war games. Now the artificial intelligence snaps and starts trying to murder these other ships. And the crew cannot stop it. So they have to work together on this bare minimum crew has to work together to try and stop the artificial intelligence from, getting them murdered, because they can't call out to the other ships to tell them, like, listen, we're not controlling this. So it becomes like sort of a race against time, think your way out of it sort of thing, which I really enjoy. But what did you think about this episode?
It was a good episode.
Yeah, I think this is
maybe, possibly. I'm not sure though. If it is, it's 5 or 4.
Okay. Well, so
probably Kirk being my shining character, honestly.
Kirk's mine too. What's the takeaway you had from that?
Listen to iRobot.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Don't let AI do things, because it's AI.
You need to maybe read iRobot, or at least watch it before you say listen iRobot and then say that sentence. I don't think you understood that one. You didn't understand the assignment on that one. The Enterprise crew investigate. Season 2, episode 25. Bread and Circuses. The Enterprise crew investigates the disappearance of a ship's crew on a planet that is a modern version of the Roman Empire. This episode.
Don't you think it's like every 5 seconds?
They really loved the Roman Empire back then. In 2020.
The Roman Empire now.
Yeah, but like back in Star Trek days, I swear to God, if you asked Gene Roddenberry, what are you thinking about? It was the Roman Empire. Quite a bit. It had to have been. This was a good episode, but it wasn't a great episode. I didn't love it.
Yeah, same.
It was just it was more of a pontificating episode, if anything, and that's what these always seem to be, which was it was sort of a civil rights episode in most cases, or it was a religious episode in most cases. This one seemed more in line with a Christianity episode, which fine, whatever. That's neither here nor there. That's great. But it takes away from what Star Trek, I think, ultimately was trying to be. So I don't know if these are like it to me, it took away from what Star Trek, the messages Star Trek was trying to be in its most poignant episodes when they did things like this. Person.
Yeah.
Now you're yawning. I'm gonna come out in space. I'm gonna come kick your little butt over there by that little moon you're hanging out by.
That's
right
not
out.
a moon.
That's no moon.
Where?
Wrong franchise.
There, right there. It's my microphone, Mike.
No, that one over there.
Where? Where is over there? Give me a corner.
The top left.
So right there.
Exactly. You try and figure it out. All right.
There for you.
Let's go to the.
This.
Oh yeah. Who's your shining
Kirk.
star? Kirk. And what did you take away from that episode?
People thought about the Roman Empire even in the 60s.
Fair. All right, so now we come to the season finale of season 2, episode 26, Assignment Earth, which was a spin-off show they were attempting a spin-off show. Assignment Earth was a show that was spun off from Star Trek from this episode. While back in time observing Earth in 1968, the Enterprise crew encounters the mysterious Gary 7, who has his own agenda on the planet. Gary 7 is a sort of time traveler who is a higher life form that can go all around different times, and he tries to, I guess, change the course of different events in time to keep them on track rather than allow things to be in chaos. This was very much a setup for Assignment Earth, not really a Star Trek episode. So I don't really have much to say about it. Like, as a Star Trek episode, it was like I didn't care, and you're just setting up another show.
Is Mr. 7 the guy from, what's it called? Enterprise?
I don't know what
the time traveler guy who in like season 3 and 4?
I don't think so. No. That's not. No. It's completely different. That's a completely different thing. That has nothing to do with that. He's like a higher form being. Like, this was a completely different show. This was just a spinoff of Star Trek. I don't think it's ever come back into play into Star Trek again. Back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, early days of TV, spinoffs were like a big thing, and they still do them. It's not like they don't exist anymore. It's just that when you have a really popular show and then like maybe a character's doing really well on that show and it's like a side character, a lot of times network executives will be like, well, why don't we take that character and try and spin off another show, so that way, like, that's why you have NCIS freaking everywhere, like Hawaii, Sydney, New Orleans, freaking everywhere. It's just, they're all over the damn place, so that's all they were trying to do with this. That's why it's called that. They were just setting it up. So it was a fun. What was that?
Is that the Marvel movies in a nutshell? Like Spider-Man, Thor, Hulk?
They're planned, though. They're sort of spin-offs, sort of. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're spin-offs, they're offshoots, but that's what comic books did. So it's a little bit different of a formula, but under the same principle. A lot of this is shoehorns. Like, this was a shoehorn, like, okay, we have an idea, let's just use Star Trek to kind of like throw it out there. And but it takes away from Star Trek. Now we didn't have a season finale for Star Trek, though, so, and that to me is like, why? Like, I want a season finale for Star Trek. I don't want a spinoff for another show. So it made it less special for me. So I want, it was a fine little episode, but as a season finale in the last episode to talk about in this episode, I just didn't like it. It wasn't a great episode for me. What'd you think of it?
It was kind of mid. I didn't know this was a spinoff, so it kind of lowered my rating on this a little bit, just a little bit though. But like, if there was no spinoff, I think this would have been a good season finale. Not a great one, but like a fine one.
I actually would have been, I think, a little bit happier if Bread and Circuses was the spinoff. I didn't love the episode, but it still at least would have been the crew. It would have been a Star Trek episode. It would have been.
You wanted Bread and Circuses to be a spinoff?
No, not a spinoff. The finale.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just had to clear that up.
No, you're good. You're good. No, but like a finale, so that way it was like paying to the crew. All right, what's your top? As we finish out, what's your top 5 episodes of the season?
Number 5 would probably be Amok Time. I know it's low, but like, I don't love the episode. So what's your 5?
My 5 would be probably Journey to Babel.
Ooh, really, Babel. Ooh, number 4. That's not gonna be easy because I have a few that might be there. Let me get my list. Maybe Mirror Mirror. No. Doomsday Machine.
Wow. Okay. Muck Time for me.
Journey to Babel would be number 3 for me.
Well, what's your number? Journey to Babel's number 3 for you?
Yeah.
Mirror Mirror is number 3 for me.
Mirror Mirror is number 2 for me.
Okay. And Doomsday Machine is number 2 for me.
And then I think we both know what number 1 is. Trouble with Tribbles.
Trouble with Tribbles. Very cool. All right. I like it. Dig it. All right, guys. So, all right, guys. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Warp Factor Fiction. Truly appreciate you. You guys are really awesome. Come back next month when we do another episode thank you guys again. This is a Patreon show, so it'll be up on Patreon first for the first month. Then you can go check it out on all podcast platforms, or you can watch it over on our YouTube channel. Remember to like, subscribe, and make sure to hit that bell so you can check out more episodes of this and other great shows as well. You guys are all awesome. Make sure to check out our merch store. We have great Star Trek merch and other movie and TV show merch as well. Snobsmerch.com. Use promo code SNOBS for 10% off of your order. Guys, go check out any one of our awesome affiliates. We got collectibles, other great stuff down there as well. I want to thank my my cohort on this, Tommy. Thank you so much for joining me on this. Appreciate you. And thank you all for joining in. Remember to be kind, stay classy, and take care of yourselves. It's important. And we will talk to you next time. Bye.